welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Titania, and this is a thought experiment where what if we banned Atraxa and Archon of Cruelty from Legacy? Clearly Dimir Reanimator has been a top deck for almost 2 years now. 3 cards have been banned out of the deck. It's still the top deck. There are a lot of opinions out there about what we should do about that. Or not we, but what Wizards of the Coast could do about that. One of the opinions out there is that Reanimator's fine, and bring your graveyard hate and you'll be okay. I think that opinion has been proven to be wrong, though people still hold it. Another opinion is hit either Entomb or Reanimate. Entomb to kill the archetype entirely, or Reanimate to slow it down quite a bit. There are those who believe Tamiyo to be the biggest problem with Legacy right now, and it's subsidizing this little Reanimator package in what's otherwise a Tamiyo-centric blue combo deck. Or blue control deck, blue tempo deck, whatever. Little bit of everything going on with Tamiyo at one end and Atraxa at the other. But one of the other thoughts, the one that we're exploring today, is that monsters have gotten too good. Entomb and Reanimate have been legal for years. Why is this suddenly a problem? Atraxa did pretty much completely replace Griselbrand as the go-to monster in any deck that cheats a monster into play. And Archon of Cruelty has proven to be the perfect second monster. Atraxa repills your hand while stabilizing the board from combat, and Archon kills your opponent very quickly while impacting their board with the sacrifice a creature effect. Atraxa is also blue, so it pitches to Force of Will. That's been noted. The deck's ability to spend all of its resources, like Entomb, Reanimate, Force of Will, backup, Atraxa comes in, immediately refill your hand at no additional cost while providing a 7/7 lifelink, and the Vigilance. The Vigilance on Atraxa and the attack trigger on Archon, both of those creatures are extremely hard to race. There's stuff you can do to race a Griselbrand, especially if your opponent pays 7 life at any point to draw cards that add some texture to the game. Atraxa and Archon are simply unraceable by creatures, unless you're already just so far wide it doesn't matter. That said, Griselbrand is clearly the heir apparent. If we want a big dope with lifelink that draws cards, Griselbrand and Atraxa are always in the conversation together. Archon of Cruelty, however, there's no real replacement for. Because Archon does many different things. The Edict matters, the gain 3 life matters, the lose 3 life matters, the draw and discard all matter, and there's no creature that does all of those things that we can reanimate together. I thought about Angel of Despair for the permanent removal part of the ability. I thought about Stormtide Leviathan for the shutdown combat part of the ability. The unraceable card aspect, Stormtide Leviathan's pretty good at that. I thought about Vaultborn Tyrant and Titan of Industry for the enter, gain life, go up some cards while having a big creature ability. And at the end of the day, I decided to just play Valgavoth. As far as stabilizing the board go, a flying lifelink 9/9 that is basically untouchable. It's not a removal spell. It doesn't hit your opponent's hand the way Archon does, but this does come into play and freaking stay there. And it has relevant text. It has like a Leyline of the Void attached to it, which is relevant in mirrors and decks that use their graveyard, which is many of them. End of the day, we just landed on Valgavoth. Outside of the monster downgrade, this is literally just Dimir Reanimator. I took a 75 that went 9-0 in a recent MTGO challenge, and I turned the monsters into different monsters. And that's pretty much it. These are the creatures I get to play with in this otherwise proven archetype, proven 73 of the 75 of a tournament winning list, with 2 slightly different things at the top end. Let's see how this goes. I am on the play in round 1 with Entomb and Reanimate. I'm going to keep. Valgavoth is the monster left in my deck because I'm holding the Griselbrand, and we'll see what my opponent's up to. I'll be pretty hyped if they don't play counterspells. I have no backup here, no follow-up. if I find another fetch land, oh no. Okay, Painter's Servant. Well, folks, this actually is huge because we're in a situation where Archon of Cruelty would kill that Painter's Servant, but Valgavoth does not. We might lose this game because we're playing Valgavoth already. All right, Entomb Valgavoth. They could also like Spirit Guide Red Blast to counter this Entomb. We got a U serious in the chat. My opponent is literally tilting off. You have the answer. Okay. Weirdo tilting off opponent countered my spell. That would not have even beat them. All right, Brainstorm. Oh, the nuts. Okay. I'm going to put back Reanimate and Grizzlebrand, and we'll see if they continue tilting off to this free Entomb after they counter the first one. Splat. The Grizzlebrand should put up the feelers, though, because this should not be in my deck. I'm clearly doing something unusual. Urza Saga. Reanimate Grizzlebrand. Do I want to ponder first? No, because if they have another Red Blast, I would rather have mana up for Reanimate. My opponent is crashing out in the chat right now. I'm not going to show it, but they are losing their entire damn mind. I hope they scoop the match. All right, versus Painter, I want Barrowgoyfs, I want Fatal Pushes, I want Consigns. Bitter Triumph's probably good. Engineered Explosives, solid versus the Saga plan. I think we just full juke this opponent, which is always something in the range of this deck to do. My opponent is still crashing out, by the way. They're judging me as a person, like making sweeping generalizations about me as a person, as a man. Embarrassing stuff, really. Okay. Take it up with Patreon subscriber Titania, who paid money to have me do this. This is my job. Daze is pretty bad against them. Oh, I need less, not more. I don't think I want Voidwalkers. Some value reanimates might be okay. I mean, Force of Will really sucks against Painter. I could board just 14 or 15 cards here. Like Voidwalkers, those go here. And some Force of Wills come out. Is Daze worse than Force? On the draw, I think so. Yeah, just 14 cards coming in. Let's go. All right, hand's kind of solid, I guess. If my opponent turn one moons me, which is something Painter does sometimes, and they had Lionside Diamond in their list, so they're clearly stompier than normal. Unlicensed Hearse. Oh man, that would be embarrassing if I had a single Entomb or Reanimate left in my deck. It is a strangely consistent position that may or may not surprise anyone, that people who don't know what they're doing get really mad sometimes about stuff that's not worth getting mad about. A Fairy Macabre in their hand as well. All right, I'm going to take this Goblin Welder, and their hand literally doesn't do anything. All right, good luck beating Barrowgoyf. They can counter Force of Will here. Like if they draw some spell and don't need Spirit Guide to cast it, then they do have Red Blast available. Right, there goes Spirit Guide. Imperial Recruiter on the stack. Sure, go for it. This is why Force of Will is bad against them. They just have so many one-mana answers to it. Magus of the Moon has entered the chat. All right, now I have Force backup for Tamiyo. I don't want another Thoughtseize. If they Red Blast Tamiyo, they might not even be able to cast this Magus. If they find a red source off the top, they might actually be able to cheese this game still. Okay. That was a good draw. I'm still going to force this thing, make them Red Blast, and then Tamiyo versus Imperial Recruiter can be the game. All right, Magus of the Moon's in. They can crew Unlicensed Hearse. Basic Swamp wins the game on the spot. Flipping Tamiyo also really good. Attack with this. Crack my clue. And pass. They're still leaving up Hearse rather than hitting me for 5. Someday they'll figure that out. Grafdigger's Cage, sure. Basic Island. That's exciting. I attack with Tamiyo. The Swamp is what I really want, but Island is a start. Brazen Borrower. That can bounce Magus of the Moon, and then we're in business. All right, they're going for the crew here. This is an attack for 8, which I don't mind. My plan is to end step, bounce Magus, then wasteland their City of Traders, put some unbeatable creatures into play. Lion's Eye Diamond. All right, so their hand is just Fairy Macabre right now. Bounce Magus. Go to my turn. I drew the basic Swamp also. Life is good. Wasteland your thing. Play Barrogoyf. The unlicensed source can get control of the Barrogoyf over a long period of time, but not all in one turn. And as long as I keep a fetch land up, they can't make it 0. Hit him with the GGs real quick, and on to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, MagicCon, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2 with one of the Reanimator hands that might be a trap. This is something that I haven't really dialed in because I haven't been getting the reps with this deck because I don't really like it. I could go to 6, chasing Entomb Reanimate. Or I could keep this hand with multiple Entombs. I play 5 Reanimates and 8 cantrips to dig for them. Tamiyo is just a good card by itself. Obviously, I've chosen to keep the hand, but I'm not sure if that was correct. Underground Sea, not what I'm looking for. Do I want to invest in Tamiyo or get the Entombs flying? I think I want to play Tamiyo. Versus Urza's Saga Pass. This could be Mystic Forge. It could be Painter again. Could be some affinity deck. Leading on the Saga, though, means that they either have a way to tap for 2 mana starting next turn to get constructs, or they don't care about constructs. Maybe I should have fetched Basic Island here, just in case this is Red Stompy. That is going to Blood Moon me right now. Because if they could get up to Chapter 2, and then Chrome Mox, Spirit Guide, yep, I might have just threw it here. Yeah, I didn't talk through it all the way until it was too late. I had access to Basic Island. Okay. Black Saga Storm is probably okay. They're not going to Blood Moon me at least, but they might still win in a variety of other ways. Okay, I'm just going to attack with Tamiyo and pass. Black Saga Storm usually is an Echo of Eons deck. If they tutor for Lion's Eye Diamond, then send an Echo, Bowmaster plays here. If they end up their own Bowmaster, that could indicate a plan. Right, just a construct. Another construct, and I'm going to fetch before their thing pops off. They're not going to Blood Moon me. I'm high confidence. Are we going to see something like Lion's Eye Diamond, or do they have Lava Spur Boots, something easy? Mox Diamond. And another Saga, alright. The party continues. Candy Trail. For sure, Tony Scaponi deck. Tony loves candy. I am going to play Bowmaster this turn to absorb this 5 damage, because with Grizzlebrand and Valgavoth as my monsters, this is a spot where Archon is probably significantly better than Valgavoth, as these constructs might reasonably get up to 9 and cause real problems for me. I just trade off with Valgavoth. That also assumes I'm going to find a Reanimate, which may or may not happen. I'd like it to. I could Entomb in the upkeep. I think I'm just going to draw. Murktide Regent. I guess Tamiyo's got to keep fighting here. If Clue draws Brainstorm or Ponder, that's useful action for me. There we go. All right, fetch for a basic island. Brainstorm. I have Entomb to shuffle the Brainstorm, and here I am with 2 more Entombs. All right, put back Entomb and fetch land. I'm keeping the second Entomb in case they duress me this turn. Plus Tamiyo, and we'll see if they value pressuring the Tamiyo or taking big chunks out of me. As they have exactly enough here to kill Tamiyo. Or no, they make a construct, they kill Tamiyo even through a blocker, but they have to attack with both if they want to clear her. The third Saga, alright. I just got massive deja vu. I feel like I've played this exact game before versus Black Saga Storm, where they just had 3 Sagas in their opening hand. In main phase construct, they're coming for beats. Do they want Tamiyo or do they want my life total? Another Chrome Mox, they're even bigger. Pitch to Cabal Therapy, or Cabal Ritual, they're all in on this. Please go after Tamiyo. Right, once attacking Tamiyo. Oh, they backed it off. coming after me now with both. Ugh. That was a good read. I can block one, go to 12, and still reanimate, but it's too late to really matter. Yep, I'm in some trouble. Valgavoth will be the same size as their constructs next turn. Way too late for Grizzlebrand to help. Now I have to reveal that I'm Reanimator. Valgavoth to the graveyard. Come on, deck. Wasteland, honestly, not the worst card I could have. Brainstorm, we need something good here. A Reanimate. Alright, we did find a Reanimate. Put back Entomb and Underground Sea. Or Entomb Polluted Delta. I don't know if I can afford to fetch. Alright, Entomb and Polluted Delta go back. I can Reanimate Valgavoth. And then Wasteland the Urza Saga that's about to pop. I still don't think I'm winning this game. Wasteland the Saga that's about to go off. Plus Tameo. They can attack me with 3 8/8s next turn. I block 1, I gain 9. There'll be 7 power. So 14 plus 9 is... Or 9 plus 3 is 12. They're hitting me for 14. I'm dead anyway. Archon would not have saved me here either. I just was a turn too late getting my pieces together. And the third Saga actually doing it. Yeah, 2 Sagas I just barely stabilize against here, but the third one is too much. And they seem to have been able to count. So unlucky for me. Yeah, if this is Archon instead, then they only have 3 constructs instead of 4. They have 2 attackers, but the Archon... I'm at 6 and it doesn't have lifelink or anything. Yeah, that's not good enough. Atraxa is not good enough. All right, yeah, I was just too slow finding the other half of my combo this game. Okay, Black Saga Storm is what they're up to. I like Consign, Explosives, and Force of Negation. Thoughtseize is good. Do I back off a little bit? I still think between Valgavoth and Grizzlebrand, I'd rather have Valgavoth in this matchup if I only have 1 monster. Does this even make sense? I think versus a combo deck without Force of Will, I should probably just be sending. What if I cut my Bowmasters? I know they have the Echo of Eons lines. We didn't even see the Storm part of their deck, just the Saga part. I think on the play, I want to try to send it. I'm not going to mess with Reanimation at all. And then on the draw, I can become a control deck. Daze is kind of bad. They have a lot of mana in their deck, and I'm bringing in 4 blue cards, so I don't need to worry about my blue count there. Voidwalker has useful text. Fatal Push could have useful text if they've got their own Bowmasters, but I'm just going to try to jam out. This is not a jam out. It does have Force of Will and Wasteland, though. That's good against the Storm and the Saga. I'll try it. And they can't just completely disrespect the card Reanimate in my hand either if they have a Duress. Right, put Tameo in the bank. If they have Duress, then go off. That works here because they can strip my blue card for Force and then go nuts. Alt, LED, Mox Opal. The pieces are all here to go nuts. I hope that their hand is gummed up a little bit with Graveyard Hate while I have the control-y side draw. Wishclaw Talisman. Not going to fight over that. Ponder flips Tameo. Wasteland not that important here. They have Metalcraft without it. I'll cast the first Ponder and see what happens. Okay, blue card backed up. There's also an Entomb there. Don't shuffle. Cast the other Ponder. I can't actually get Entomb, Reanimate, and Double Black available for next turn. I'll map it out over 2 turns. Well, I can't do that while having forced double blue card. Maybe I didn't need the double blue card. Maybe I'm just supposed to put Entomb in my hand, Polluted Delta underneath it, and hope I don't get duressed. But with Wishclaw, they could probably find whatever piece they're missing. Saga from hand. They probably needed the Vault of Whispers to get Metalcraft last turn and couldn't lead on the Saga. I don't have information whether that was a draw off the top or anything. Cabal Writ resolves. I'm just kind of clicking fast, pretending I don't have interaction. And they can Wishclaw on their turn. It's not as a sorcery. Right, Infernal Tutor. Float black. Okay, this looks like a good place to Force of Will. Because if they Wishclaw in response, then they won't be Hellbent. If they get Beseech, I probably just lose. I guess they just had it both ways here. No, I should have... Or no, the Infernal Tutor probably just gets Duress. Or no, that's a mana short. I should have let the tutor resolve. Now I'm going to lose to Beseech when I didn't have to. They have LED Ritual. Beseech for Beseech, sacking land. Storm is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, dead. All right. Yeah, I messed that up. The Wishclaw probably had it covered either way, or at least some follow-up, but yeah, I was too worried about the tutor when Wishclaw at 3 mana is so much less scary than just letting them have it at 4. Okay, yeah. Blew it. On to the next one.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. Basic Swamp means Daze doesn't work, but I'm not going to mulligan a hand that has Dimir Reanimate in it. Underground Sea. Dark Ritual. We're just getting Doomsdayed. Sick. All right. This would be a great hand to draw that Island out of. Island lets me ponder and also turns on Daze. In Wasteland has a chance that they built a pile that needs every mana, but I feel like that can be played around, especially with 4 cards in hand. Good chance they have their own Forcer Daze as well if they sent it this hard. If I don't draw something useful, I'm going to concede to hide the information. All they know is that Doomsday resolved on turn 1 right now. I could be any deck. I could be a blue deck that just didn't have Force. I could be any non-blue deck in the format. Oh, they had the turn 1. Lion's Eye Diamond to jumpstart the stack. Okay. And I'm going to look at their deck real quick. We've got, looks like pretty stock blue-black Doomsday. I don't see any Veil of Summers or Carpet of Flowers or green mana. Looks like all the normal stuff you'd expect. Okay. I'm going to take one draw step and see if it affects the game at all. All right. I guess I have to play now. I was ready to concede. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Force of Wills in exile. 1, 2, 3, 4 Dazes. All Forces, all Dazes are missing. Quantum Riddler, that's nice. All right, I guess I'll cast Ponder off of Underground Sea and hope that this gives me a puncher's chance to actually win the game. Force of Will is good. Shuffle. Just saw a bunch of cards that weren't Force of Will. I would be surprised if Daze beats their pile. They now know I have Ponder and Underground Sea in my deck. But the chance to actually play the game successfully here, it was too good. If they pump the brakes here, like if their hand doesn't beat Force or Daze, I mean, they knew I didn't have Force 5 cards ago, but I've drawn for turn, looked at 3, shuffled, drew another one. Now they have to think about Daze. If they pump the brakes and let me just Entomb Reanimate, then Grizzlebrand does stuff. Right, land. A fetch land gets a card out of the deck for freezies. Lion's Eye Diamond can pay for Daze. Here goes Brainstorm. And the LED can pay for Daze. Alright, I'm just going to hope that this somehow doesn't do what they need it to. But Black Lotus is pretty good at making mana. Right, here's the fetch. If the one card in their hand is the Oracle right now, we're dead. Yeah, okay. Yep, Daze doesn't help here. You got me. So if I had found Force of Will off of that Ponder, that actually would have been okay. Alright, Consign, Force of Negation come in. Bowmaster is fine, but not really what we're about here. I like my monsters. Brazen Borrower's blue. Wasteland is high enough impact that I don't want to cut it. Do I need both monsters? I mean, drawing one kind of stinks. But if I cut Valgavoth and just play with Grizzlebrand, that is a game plan. Valgavoth is functionally unkillable in their deck. The only problem would be drawing the Grizzlebrand. Yeah, I think I'm going to go one monster. Full package, one monster. Keep. I have interaction, 2 good pieces of interaction, and Ponder to move cards around. Force of Will. All right, now 3 good pieces of interaction, another Ponder to keep moving cards around. Petal, Tameo, I don't have a removal in my deck. We just gotta beat this thing the old-fashioned way. There's a Wasteland on top of my deck right now. I don't think that's how I want to do this. I'm gonna Ponder and play my land first. Land number 3, Force of Negation. I'm gonna shuffle this. Another Reanimate. You'll have to see it. Okay, passing the turn. The Tamiyo is a problem if the game goes long, which means I have to try to make it not do that. I can consign to memory the flip trigger, but I'm as worried about frontside Tamiyo as I am backside Tamiyo. Okay, they played Sewer from hand, binning an island. Tamiyo's in. I'm going to get my own Sewer here. Cycled Street Wraith, that flips Tamiyo. I'm not going to consign that trigger. It's fine. Alright, Undercity Sewers, show me Grizzlebrand or Entomb. Thoughtseize. That's not really where I want to be. That's not the aspect of the game I'm worried about right now. Yeah, got paid. Entomb. Dump Grizzlebrand. Reanimate Grizzlebrand. I have Daze and Force to fight this fight with. And the Entomb resolved, so I'm not even that upset about this. Okay, they Daze the Reanimate. Picking up Underground Sea. That's fine. I can reanimate that again next turn. Them being a deck that can dumpster back over the top means I don't want to be aggressively using my interaction. I don't think. Brainstorm. I didn't show them enough for them to know I was Reanimator. Obviously, Blue to Delta Ponder, Underground Sea is the most likely outcome. Tamiyo bought back Ponder. They didn't find a natural shuffle. There's a good chance this Ponder shuffles, unless all the cards they saw off Brainstorm were just good. Yep, Ponder shuffled. Right, now I can play Reanimate around Daze and Spell Pierce, should I desire. Right, I will use my Swamp. Get back to this Grizzlebrand. If they Force of Will, I'll just cast the third Reanimate. Force of Negation. You got me. Pitching Force of Will. The third Reanimate. Relentless. Flusterstorm does get me here. I can Daze a Spell Pierce. Oh my god. Alright, it doesn't have to get me here. Hard mode activate. Consign the Storm trigger, then Daze the Fluster. Do they have another Daze? Oh my god. We did it! We resolved Grizzlebrand. Okay. And now I'm just going to pass the turn because there's nothing I can do with 7 fresh cards in my hand. If they cast Doomsday, I can draw 7 in response, look for the Force. Grizz activation plus Force puts me to 2. Okay, crack the Petal. Or crack the Clue, whatever that thing was. And they're done. That was quite a wizard battle. Alright, if they're on millions of counterspells and Tamiyos, do I want my Bowmasters back in? Bowmaster not great at pressuring Tamiyo. Fatal Push can pick off the Tamiyo pre-flip, but just muscling through it sounds pretty good. But now they know what I'm doing. I'm just refreshing myself real quick on MTG Goldfish about what graveyard hate they might play. I see Grafdigger's Cage, Nile Spellbomb in a sideboard. Cage, Spellbomb, Shoulder's Edict. All these decks seem to have Barrogoyf in the sideboard too. Do I think they've juked? Do I want to juke? If I cut Force of Negations... Alright, hold on. Let's figure this out. If I get some Fatal Pushes back... Alright, on the draw, I think I mentioned becoming control on the draw. Alright, Entombs Reanimates, Grizzlebrand, Animate Dead out. This gives me Barrogoyf Fatal Push, Orcish Bowmaster. I could keep one Reanimate. If we both have Barrogoyfs in our deck, Reanimate's always going to be fine. I still have all my interaction for their combo, but now I've respected their juke. Okay. I'm just Dimir tempo now. I'll keep this hand. Land pass. I like that. Fatal Push. I don't like that. Sewer, trigger. Brazen Borrower. That's fine. It's a blue card. It's a threat. It's an answer to Barrogoyf. Sewer from the opponent as well. Dump Thassa's Oracle. Reanimating that could be sweet. Can they win anymore? Sometimes they have 2. Okay, Blue to Delta represents the other Undercity Sewer. And now we're into the draw go game. Fetch. 3-drop coming. Doomsday. I'm going to float a blue and Daze that. Seems like as good a time as any to cast the card Daze. Alright, they passed. I burned off my blue. I'll fetch the other Sewer in the end step. Another Daze. I don't actually want that. Wasteland. Interesting. Wasteland turns on Fatal Push. I'm going to hold on to the Wasteland in case they pivot onto a Barrowglyph next turn. Bowmaster is a real threat. Keep it. All right, did they have the double Doomsday? Thoughtseize. Sad. All right, if they had 2 Doomsdays, this one's going to resolve. It would be really interesting if they take the Murktide or a push instead of this Force. Okay, they took Murktide. That means they are not ready to go for it. They are afraid of death. But who among us isn't? Right, Swamp Pass. Doomsday. All right, well, I will force that because that's what I have. They looked at my hand and let me have that. All right, Force Pitching Daze. Okay. They know about Wasteland. They're going to go to 7 here. Bowmaster puts them to 6, attacks them to 4. There are ways they could mismanage this pile, but it's definitely beatable. Pinging them before and after the Doomsday is the same here. They either go to 7, I ping them to 6, or they go to 6 and they've already been pinged. They end up at 6 either way. They just don't know about Bowmaster when they build their pile this way. And they know I have double Fatal Push, which means that they do have to go all the way empty on Thassa's Oracle. If they have another Force Blue card in their hand to clear the Bowmaster, they're going to win this pretty easily, I think. All right, let's have a look. I only see 3 Force of Wills in the Exile Zone. It could be in their hand, or they could have just put it in the pile. All right, well, all I can do is play Bowmaster and hope it's good enough. That's where we are in this game. Bowmaster. All right, that resolved. They're at 6. I'm going to make it 4. I'm going to Wasteland. I'm going to mess up whatever I can, wherever I can here. And does Tamiyo matter? I think having some secret left over. Tamiyo's not going to change the clock this game. Nile Spellbomb. Okay. That can draw a card, I guess. All right, passing to me. Ponder could be useful. I'm going to attack with my Bowmaster first. They're at 2. That makes drawing cards a lot harder. Ponder finding any force or consign or anything like that is huge here. Okay. Push, push, Force of Will in the bank and passing the turn. They could pop Spellbomb to go 1 card deeper here, but they go to 1, which means fetches and forces are both off. So assessing here the challenge, the Reanimator stuff, Grizzlebrand was probably better than Atraxa in game 1, because Atraxa can only ever put 1 Force of Will in your hand. Grizzlebrand could represent as many as my top 7 cards produce. And the racing aspect doesn't matter. The vigilance, the life total. Like, we're in a matchup where life total doesn't matter, which probably means Grizzlebrand is better. But by the time game 3 rolled around, I wasn't reanimating anyway, which is probably going to be a common theme in this league because that is the play pattern of this deck, even with the Atraxas. All right, cool. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4. I'm going to keep my hand. Tap land's a little wonky, but this hand is great. Sewers, I think just like Underground Sea is the best card I could see. Polluted Delta counts. I'm in. Depending on what my opponent does here, I can take some time Thoughtseizing them, or I can just jam. Like, Thoughtseize plus Wasteland next turn and Tomb Reanimate sounds perfectly responsible. Tamiyo. Yeah, I think Wasteland Thoughtseize is my play here, and then I'll go nuts next turn. All right, we are Nadu, and the hand has basic plain Swords to Plowshares in it. I don't care about Swords to Plowshares if I go Valgavoth. Am I more worried about getting combat out? If I take Nadu, then they can't draw Force either. That's actually sick. None of these cards are blue. All right, yeah, I'm taking Nadu. Yeah, that covers almost everything. Nadu decks don't usually play Wasteland. Plains, Nomad. They could sack their whole board to plow Valgaboth next turn. The clue is a non-land permanent. All right, fetch. Grizzlebrand. I think it's Grizzlebrand, actually. Entomb the Grizzfather. Reanimate the Grizzfather. I go to 10 here, which is, or 9 here, which is a little awkward because they do have 1 damage in play. Plowing Grizzlebrand isn't usually the best because I just get the life back. Okay, I can fetch to 1, or force to 1, which I am going to do. Force, pitching, brainstorm, I guess. All right, I'm at 1. Don't have 1 damage somewhere, please. Okay, they forced me back. Pitching Ponder. Their last 2 draw steps were Force Ponder, which is mostly fine. Like, I lose Grizzlebrand here, but my life total is still robust. And now I can play Murktide into their hand of no useful cards. I can even reanimate their Nadu. Or just turbo flip Tameo. The world is my oyster. Tameo, Brainstorm. There's an Entomb. These reanimates are not really helping anymore. I don't gain life in my deck. They're asking me in the chat if I think they should have fetched Basic Island instead of the drop on turn 1. And I don't think they do, because they have Nomad Nadu. Their whole hand is green. Like, their hand just doesn't do anything if with Island, and you don't know it's a Wasteland matchup. I think it's a calculated risk in the correct direction. All right, I'm going to Entomb Valgaboth here to get rid of those reanimates that I don't actually want. Entomb Valgaboth, let's go. We're making it weird, but we're making it. Thoughtseize, plus Tameo. I don't think I care about Thoughtseizing them. I don't have any Fatal Pushes in the main. We were counting on Archon of Cruelty to do that, and it's obviously not a card that my deck includes. All right, I'm not playing around Force here because they can't possibly have it. At full size, Murktide leaving Force of Will in the graveyard. I can't Bowmaster the Nomad because they could just send the damage onto Tameo. That is a common error that I see people make. I've seen so many people in Paper Magic just walking around the tournament hall, Bowmaster Nomad when there's just an Endurance or some shit in play. It doesn't work. Okay, Fatal Push. Bitter Triumph definitely coming in. Engineered Explosives probably reasonable. They are mid-range, not breakfast. I could try to meet them in combat with the Barrogoyfs. Or I could try to jam a monster on them. Right, what does this look like? Daze is not that good. I like Thoughtseize. It would be juking off Reanimator would be the decision here. Entomb Reanimate, Grizzlebrand, Valgaboth, Animate Dead, coming out. Daze stays. This gives me Engineered Explosives and 3 Voidwalkers. And I'm just mid-range again. And they're going to be bringing in their Endurances and stuff. Alright, I'm going to seesaw this on the play and draw. If there's a game 3 where I'm on the play, I might bring Reanimator back in. Keep them off balance. I like my hand. There's Trop. Delighted Halfling. That card makes my life really difficult. I'm going to force it because I'm on the mid-range plan. Oh, Fatal Push. Well, embarrassing. Thoughtseize you. Fairy Macabre. We played around it. Sylvan Safekeeper Nadu. Plow. I'm going to take Nadu. Got to be patient, work through these other things. They only have 2 lands. If I fire Fatal Push at the Sylvan Safekeeper, are they even going to save it? And then if they do save it, I can Bowmaster on the very next turn and cost them their next land. Right, there it is. Big Barrogoyf. I'd like to know what my next draw is before I make decisions. Definitely keeping Brainstorm. Yeah, Fatal Push Sylvan Safekeeper. Is this worth a land to you? Nope, didn't think so. Cool. Right, there's a Surveil land. Kept a card on top. If they go land Nadu right now, I can Triumph it. This looks like Zenith for 1. Sure. Delighted Halfling's back. Back again. This is the Brainstorm I knew I was drawing. Voidwalker Fatal Push. I like this. How do I sequence it? I would like to draw out the Plow on something that isn't Barrogoyf, and then win with Barrogoyf. I think that means I stack Voidwalker Bowmaster, play my land, push the halfling, and then next turn I can play Bowmaster, see if it's worth a plow to them, then drop Aragorn on top of it. Bromads. That's a tough card to deploy into my Bowmaster on top of the deck. This was going to be my plan anyway, but it's absolutely happening now. They can't force, and they can't redirect. That was sweet. That was kind of an unlucky draw for them, because it just walked right into what I was going to do anyway. Halfling is in play. Thothy Voidwalker is on top of my deck. I'm just going to play Voidwalker and pass. Trying to work my way through this. Swords to Plowshare somewhere. Do they have the Nadu? They can't have Nadu and Nomad this turn. There's just not enough mana showing. Legendary black card. Oh, I got the Soul Cauldron. Okay. That represents Nomad's Encore for the rest of the game. It's also passive Graveyard Hate. I'll get my Undercity Sewer right now. Another Bowmaster. I'll keep that. That's the type of thing that could cause a blowout. Attack with everybody. Is it Swords to Plowshare's time? Nope. That's fine. I'm going to hold on to this Bitter Triumph, so I can't afford for them to make Delighted Halfling into a Nomad's Encore and then kill me with it. Yep, not great. Okay, so I think right now I'm supposed to Bitter Triumph the Halfling. The Nomad is still under the Soul Cauldron, but killing the Halfling means they have to come up with mana and Nadu instead of just Nadu. Alright, that's gone. If they go land Nadu here, I might still just be dead. Nomad, okay. That's the wrong half of the combo. And the second Bowmaster in my hand's actually really good here. I can make an attack that looks like I just forgot about Soul Cauldron, but I actually just have it covered. Alright, I'm just going to pass into damage here. Exiling Halfling, respond, kill the Nomad before it's a 2-2, and before it gains the abilities of Delighted Halfling. Right, opponent's down to 9. We're still a Nadu away from catastrophic outcome. Though, okay, the fetch down to 8. This might be a Nadu we could bully through. This is like an honest Nadu flip, if that is what's happening here. Slow and steady versus onboard damage. Alright, we got a game. They get 4 flips here. Like 2 now and 2 next turn. Or 2 on my turn. Veil of Summer. A white land gives them Plow, which deals with the Voidwalker. Alright, Forest. So I'm at least going to untap. Can you imagine if Grizzlebrand was still in my deck versus this Soul Cauldron? Holy moly. Alright, there is the Plow, unfortunately. And there's a Ponder. Alright, that's a bunch of that. There's a Nomad, a Halfling, and a Misty Rainforest in the Void. If I attack with everything, they could block Orc Army, go to 6. Alright, I'm going to attack with Voidwalker. That's the one that can get through. They did not interact with that. They could fetch Dryad Arbor and flip a bunch of cards here. Alright, yeah, they're flipping. Very Macabre. Nadu. Went to 4. Alright, I'm just going to play another Voidwalker and try to slug it out. They get roasted if they cast Ponder. They have to actually deal with multiple Voidwalkers. We know they could deal with 1. And when they cast Plow, it goes into the Void. Cub. ETH. Fetching to 3 here isn't free, because that makes a single Voidwalker lethal. ETH. Or Misty. Zenith. Cub. The Veil of Summer can protect them from Bowmasters for a while. Tundra triggers Cub. If they Brainstorm, let me stack my triggers, then Veil. That will protect them from that. Delighted Halfling. More flips. There's also a Sylvan Safekeeper. The second Plow. That might do it. The Sylvan Safekeeper in the graveyard means that I can't actually kill any of their creatures, even if it does get to my turn, even if there is a Plow in the Void. Yeah, they basically have to mess up at this point for me to win the game. Right, a Plow's gone. The other Plow's gone. They put Halfling under... Oh, another counter on Nadu. They're just trying to... this will double the counters with the Cub trigger. So they're trying to get it done in 2 hits with Nadu. Yeah, this is 9 power. There's Tameo. Revealed another Tameo. Carpet of Flowers. That's a lot of mana. Carpet's in. There's still a Zenith in their hand. And then like Brainstorm Ponder. And I'm at 10. I'm definitely dead to this Nadu next turn. That is just on board. They've got 3 blockers. It's probably about to be 4. And they did tap out of the ability to Sylvan Safekeep. Oh, they failed to find a green creature on their Zenith. Might have just been getting it out of their hand because the mana was free. That doesn't help. Doesn't matter. All right, GG. They always have 2 Nadus. You Thoughtseize them, the next draw is Nadu every single time. It's guaranteed. Don't even bother playing like that's not going to happen, because it is. Okay. Do I think being the control deck is still better than being Reanimator? And Valgavoth doesn't even beat Nadu. This is a matchup where you really, really, really want Archon if you're going to be reanimating. We saw multiple Fairy Macabres. Yeah, I don't want to have to play around that stuff. Multiple Fairy Macabres and the Soul Cauldron. This is not smooth, but Fatal Push is one of my cleanest weapons versus them. All right, Sewer. I'm looking for threats. Tamiyo's good. Put that right on top. Drop Ponder. All right, so I get to bank my Fatal Pushes even longer. Do not shuffle Ponder. Fetch land Tamiyo. The other Undercity Sewer is available to me. Tamiyo fight. All right, if they don't plow, I'm not going to fetch, because if I fetch, that puts the Brainstorm shields down. And that is the annoying interaction that this format is balanced around right now. I'm just going to go to my turn. All right, I'm going to attack with my Tamiyo if I can. We got a clue. And I'm going to push theirs before Veil of Summer comes online. All right, leave up that fake Brainstorm shield. They're not falling for it. Tamiyo's gone. Ponder. I'm going to let this resolve. They have enough X1s in the deck that I think Bowmaster still has hope to be better than this ambush ping. I can crack my clue in the end step. I could fetch my Surveil in the end step. I got stuff to do. Look at me with my Bowmaster. All right, they don't have Daze in their deck. They might Veil of Summer here, but I'm still doing it. Got to get through that Veil eventually. All right, I'll crack a clue. Murktide. That's a blue card for Force, most importantly. And we're pushing damage. My hand is 2 answers. I'm going to force this the first time. If they force back, then Fatal Push. But I'd rather not give them more cards out of it. I'm not going to fetch here because if they have a second Nadu, I need Revolt next turn. Tamiyo's insane. I'm not going to play the Swamp. All right, the Re-Nadu right away. Dried Arbor. Yeah, I'm going to fetch here and see what my top card is. That could inform how I use my Fatal Push. Bowmaster. All right, I'll put that on top, and I'm going to push Nadu and hope it dies. If they have Force of Will here, or they blind flip Karakas, those are both really shitty. They revealed the third Nadu. I hate Magic so much. Okay. Attack with everything. Can't imagine they're going to block. I will push the extra damage with Bowmaster here. And then I'm going to crack this clue token and hope to find Thoughtseize. Wasteland. Oh no. If I hadn't played the Swamp, I was trying to leave my most options open. Like, I have more Ponders and Brainstorms than I have Wastelands in my deck right there, but Wasteland would have been insane. Delighted Halfling. Okay, taking a turn off. They don't want to get dazed, or they just have a land anyway. Allowing Tamiyo sucks. All right, deck. I've been given an opportunity here. Can I draw a removal spell, a good card? Even like Barrogoyf or Voidwalker that can apply pressure through Nadu are fine here. That's not it. All right, I'll attack with just Bowmaster. I probably could have gotten 2 points in there. Like, if I just attack with everything, I don't think they can afford to block Bowmaster, knowing that I might have another one. They drew a land anyway. I really hope there's not a Nomad as one of the last cards in this hand. I can't counter this. They played around Daze last turn, though. All right, Barrogoyf, removal spell. Tamiyo. All right, put Tamiyo into play. There's no bluffing here. If they have a Nomad, I'm just dead. Dump to Halfling. At least they didn't keep the card. No attacks. Chillin'. Straight chillin'. All right, deck. Good cards, good cards. Thoughtseize is not the worst card. Thoughtseize you. What's going on over there? Oh, the 4th Nadu. Normal stuff. I'll take that because my plan is to get through this one eventually. I could take a bold YOLO swing with Tamiyo and hope that the clue delivers something good, but If I draw Ponder or Brainstorm, then I could for sure protect Tamio. Oh no. No, you drew Soul Cauldron? Stop. Okay, no, it's Tamio. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Soul Cauldron and Nomad are the bad draws. Force of Will. Okay, I can counter a Nomad moving forward. Their Tamio can attack and mine can't. I'm still sitting on this Underground Sea. I have hopes for a future Brainstorm, Brainstorm one day. I can beat Nomad. I cannot beat Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Yeah, there's their Tamio doing its thing. Their clues are risky to deploy. Oh, they don't give a shit. All right, they're drawing a card. I'm going face, and now Orc Army's bigger than Nadu. Like, I'm not going to ping these creatures and try to, let Nadu trigger. Scythe Cat Cub. That could get the Nadu party going. It's not Nomad, but it's pretty bad too. All right, now I can attack. Misty Rainforest, why? Why? Okay, I think I want to attack with everything. They can either go to 2 and let Tamio through. They can chump block with Nadu, or they can eat a Bowmaster. And then I get to draw a card with Tamio. I attack with everybody. I'm actually going to crack the clue first, because if I hit Fatal Push here, then I just get to do it all. What are you worried about? Probably Bowmaster, but yeah, going to 3 is not great either. Yeah, 3 is still low enough that those Brainstorms can't be cast. And 3 is also the magic number for this Dothy Voidwalker that I just drew. Okay, don't draw Nomad. And if you do, don't flip into Swords of Plowshares and a White Source to cast it. Damn! Alright. Well, F6. Don't plow me, bro. I'm still not dead here. Halfling, Trop. They got so many looks, but I'm not literally dead. Zenith. Portico. That's a tapped White Source. That one doesn't help. Bear Macabre doesn't matter. There's Swords to Plowshares. Now the White Source gets them over. Brainstorm. Zenith. Zenith for 1. Safekeeper. Alright, interacting with their creatures was not my plan anyway, but that does lock up most of my outs. My out is this Voidwalker connecting. They have to miss on a flip 12 from here. They're out being any White Source. Halfling. Alright, it's a flip 14 now. Another Plow. Another Fairy Macabre. Nadu's attacking. Gotta win somehow. Nope, maybe. Yep, maybe. There it is. Alright, we gotta fade a flip 10 in the upkeep. Any White Source kills me. They discarded 4 Brainstorms into the void. Veil of Summer. 1. 2. Flusterstorm. 3. Damn it. I can at least Brainstorm on the way out. 4. Tamio. 5. Beseju comes into play. 6. Another Windswept Teeth. And now they have 2 Plows to send. Fetch down to 2. They should wait until combat, so I don't get to cast Brainstorm. Alright, I'll cast Brainstorm. This flips Tamio. Unless they also Plow Tamio. Alright, I'd like to cast Brainstorm this turn. Alright, Plow fizzles. This Underground Sea I've been holding the entire game. Suddenly relevant. Okay, how do I beat Veil of Summer here? Does going into combat first matter? I get a clue, and I can flip anytime. This Orc Army, they can just jump with anything. They could even redirect damage carefully enough, like 2 damage onto Nadu, 1 onto Tamio, 1 onto Halfling. Alright, I'm going to just start with Brainstorm. Tamio can flip. Thoughtseize, and another Voidwalker. I'm going to put back the lands. Flip Tamio. They're nomading in response to this Tamio flip. Another Heath. They don't have life gain present. Another Heath. A Misty. A Savannah. Alright, just raw ripped the White Source there. It's not even going to cost a life to get in there. Plowing the Tamio. Alright, spending these plows on things that aren't the Voidwalker in my hand are all good news for me. Okay, I just Brainstormed, so fetch away those bad cards. Brainstorm. 2 Thoughtseizes and another Brainstorm. They've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage on board. They could Zenith for a Cub if there are lands left. Alright, I guess I'm going to put back Delta and Thoughtseize. And then I'll Thoughtseize my opponent. They'll probably Veil, but that still triggers Bowmaster. Yep, that's fine. Bowmaster, target Orc Army, because I can't target their face. That's the Veil gone. I'm going to attack with Orc Army. They have to block. They can spread the damage around, but good luck tracking that on Magic Online. 1. All right, they're just creating new bubbles. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, they've spread it around. All their plows are in the graveyard right now. They may or may not have Force of Will in their deck. Flusterstorm doesn't stop this Voidwalker. Okay, they've successfully clicked through the things they're supposed to click through, and here's Voidwalker. Put you back in check, I guess. Is Zenith for Cub hit land drops? Seems to be the line here. If there are lands left to drop. And they can only fetch once because they're at 2. There's also Cub in the graveyard, and not every list plays more than 1. If they play an Endurance, they could Endurance themselves, Zenith, Cub, sack a bunch of lands. Yeah, Endurance breaks this open. And they could even Zenith for Endurance, sack all their untapped lands to Sylvan Safekeeper, and then flip their deck with Cub, make it lethal. Yeah, there's definitely lines here. Shit. All right, well, there's Endurance. Are they going to sack all their untapped lands before this goes? They didn't. All right, the Cub is still in there, but their lands might be in play. Yep, off we go. Zenith for Cub. I'd be surprised if this isn't good enough, but all we can do is play it out now. Misty triggers Nadu. I guess I'm just going to have 6. There's nothing I can brainstorm into that will help. Brainstorm, Ponder, Ponder, found. Land comes in. Or no, they fetched. That was an activate fetch land. They're at 1. Okay. Island comes in. Nadu's up to 6. They need it to be 5. Or they have all these other creatures too, so that Nadu doesn't have to do it all himself. Misty Rainforest. All right, spreading the love around. Gothy Voidwalker can't block. Yeah, the question is, all right, so this is 5. Oh yeah, the Swords of Plowshares are back in the deck too. Right, I forgot about that part. That part, yeah. I was just counting, but no, the Endurance got me multiple ways. A match that remained quasi-competitive after Nadu Nomad appeared. Also, both games determined by the third Nadu off the top in game 2, and then Nomad off the top in game 3, when things were otherwise close, but that's why you put these cards in your deck. Yeah, I really wish I had Archon of Cruelty in this matchup. That is for damn sure. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round, positive record on the line. I think this hand stinks. The tap land, unreliable. 2 reanimates, no enabler. This is one that I'm going to mulligan looking for the nuts. This is not the nuts, but it at least does something. I'm going to keep in bottom of Bowmaster. That earlier hand where I was wondering whether I'm supposed to keep it or not in the other match. Okay. So we got some stomping going on. That other one at least did something. That last hand I just mulligan does not do something. All right. Required intervention here, unfortunately. My hand's not ready for that. Misty Rainforest pass. I can't access basic swamp with this hand. I can access basic island. It looks like they were all in on that turn 1 Magus. Sewer, set up the bangers. I'll take a brainstorm. Brainstorm. Oh, Force, but Tamiyo's the only blue card. I'm going to put back Underground Sea. And Orcish Bowmasters is almost useful here. If I only get 1 basic, I'd prefer it to be Swamp. So I think I'm going to play Delta and pass here. Okay, another pass. I am going to fetch for the other sewer. We're not playing on basics. That's what Force of Will is for. Reanimate into the graveyard. I won't be reanimating their Magus of the Moon. Yikes. All right, not doing great here. I can play Tamiyo, which taps me out of Force. I don't think I want to do that. Bowmaster can start applying pressure right now. They've taken a lot of draws without doing anything, though. So their hand is like spells that cost more than 1 mana, is what we can deduce here. Thoughtseize, all right. Show me the goods. If they've got a nice Pyrogoyf or something, I'll take it here with Reanimate. 2 Lingus, 2, oh my god. All right. Well, I don't want to have to force Chalice of the Void. I can beat Magus of the Moon at this point. Yeah, I guess I'll take Chalice and Shields down, gamers. Tamio's in. If they draw Ancient Tomb and shove Magus right now, then I'll fetch Island in response and hope we can keep playing. Okay, cool. They didn't have anything. Big Schmirky. Murktide Region is worth so much more on this board than Force of Will is. At this point, I don't care what they do. Alright, cool. Now we're just smashing. There is a small consideration to just reanimating the Magus. That means that Ancient Tomb and City of Traders don't work for them, and it would be really hard for them to get white mana. Okay. That was an all-in hand that didn't work. Force check, and I pass. I would like Barrogoyf. I think I want Force of Negation. I kind of still want to reanimate them. I think Valgavoth is my guy and not Grizzlebrand. I'm going to go partial juke. Fatal Push seems fine. Bitter Triumph seems better than Push if I don't have room for both. In Leylines, Macabres, Hearses, yeah, maybe I'll just do what I've been doing and full juke when I'm on the draw, and then I can do it differently when I'm on the play if I have more information at that point. This is a huge Archon of Cruelty matchup, and I'm bummed I don't have it. Bowmaster and Daze are both mid. 4 is a lot of Thoughtseize. I don't mind seeing one early, but I really don't want them after that. Okay, the Dimir Tempo juke. The goal here is for my opponent to like mull to 5 to find a Leyline or Fairy Macabre, and then their hand's just bad and they lose to Barrogoyf. That's what I'm hoping for. And like I said earlier in the league, this has nothing to do with the challenge. Even if Atraxa and Archon were my monsters, the juke is still part of how this deck is constructed. Access to a basic and big Barrogoyf. I'm going to keep this and hope they have like a Leyline and not a Chalice. If they moon me on 1, I can start pondering my way to the swamp. If they Chalice on 1, I'll have access to both my basics and Barrogoyf will eventually show up. I'm way more worried about Chalice than I am about Moon with this hand. Plateau, Lotus Petal, and passing. And I'm going to play Delta. I can still get Undercity Sewer if I have to. I could even end-step Brainstorm off Underground Sea if I want to. But if they put a Moon on the stack here, I would really like to just fetch a Swamp and not care about it. Cavern on Human. Magus of the Moon is one of those. Alright. Well, I'll get my basic Swamp, and hopefully just be fine here. I can kill this thing, or I can just start casting Ponder. I'd like to Ponder. Thoughtseize, Murktide. I don't want Murktide. The Thoughtseize is a nice follow-up, though. This Thoughtseize clears the runway for Barrogoyf next turn. Wow. Palace Jailer, Chrome Mox is their hand. Okay. I am in really good position. I need them not to rip a banger. They can't Swords to Plowshares or Palace Jailer, or they would need 2 cards before they Solitude here. And here is a 4/5 Termagurf. Alright, did you find white card Solitude off the top? If you did, you still just have like Magus the Moon in play. Pitch Spirit Guide, 1 unknown in the hand. It has to be a red card. Not a bad red card, all things considered. It accesses white mana. It theoretically trades with Barrogoyf. Except I know it doesn't because I have Bitter Triumph. Alright, so my plan here is to attack, and I get to kill all their creatures no matter what they do. There's no instants in the graveyard, and Bitter Triumph is one. I'll attack. Block. Yep, Bitter Triumph. I'll discard an Underground Sea. I don't need all those. Now I have a 5/6. Their creature is dead. My lands are unlocked. If I cast Murktide right now, my Barrogoyf will die, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to Brainstorm. Daze Tameo, pretty good. Daze doesn't matter. Daze pretty bad. Mystery Rainforest gone. Make Tameo. Alright, they're in top deck mode, but they can scry 2 before their draw. I'm at a cozy 18 life here. I did unlock their mana. If they have another Palace Jailer, that's something that might be tough to navigate. Solitude can be hardcast here. They went top, terrifying. Okay, so they found answers. Yep, Caracas bounces Tameo. Oh, did they hit the Jailer? I hope this is Seasoned Engineer. Oh, okay, alright, game on. I'm still in pretty good shape with Murktide. They did leave another card on top, though, that they just drew. Bowmaster is actually devastating for them in this environment. A bunch of forces. Alright, well, Murktide with Force backup is now the plan. As if I hit them with this Murktide once, then Barrowglyph comes out and I have the initiative. These 2 cards in their hand have to deal with Murktide through Force of Will. If it's just double Palace Jailer, you got me. A red human. Caves of Chaos Adventure would put them into the Spooky Skeleton. Then I can hit them, get Barrowglyph back. They can bash me and enter the Throne of the Dead 3. All right, yep, we've got a game here. The top of my deck is also Force of Will. Like, I'm going to draw Force of Will for my turn and then Force of Negation for the Monarch. I'm not in the best shape. But Barrowglyph is really good against these decks. All right, hit you. You're at 13. Barrowglyph comes back. The Caves of Chaos Adventure will get to cast the card it flips for free. Yeah, skeezing 1 room forward with the extra initiative there was really insane. The Karak is doing a ton of work as well. I don't have a basic land. Oh, good. This also... I forgot I get to shuffle here, so I'm not drawing Force of Negation. All right, no basics to tutor for. Do I even play Tamiyo? They just bounce it with Karakas and it's totally free. No, I'm just going to draw. All right, come on, initiative. Wasteland. That can unlock the Karakas in the future, but they're going to be in the Throne of the Dead 3 way before that. And they get 10 rips to hit a Solitude, another Palace Jailer, just all of it. They flip Swords to Plowshares off Caves of Chaos Adventure. Okay. At least I have Force of Will for that. There's currently no instance in the graveyard. This is actually a huge fucking blowout. If they try to plow right now, that gives me something to counter. And now Barrowglyph's big enough to beat the Caves of Chaos Adventure straight up. They still go into the Throne of the Dead 3, but that was actually combat changing. Wait, we got GG in the chat. You're about to go into the throne. Don't concede. Oh, no. All right, well, I guess they didn't realize they were about to reload. Okay. A positive record with, the best deck in the format with slight downgrades. As far as this thought experiment of would this bring Reanimator into line, the biggest strength of this deck, to me, is that it doesn't have to be the same deck anymore after sideboard. Almost every single round, maybe literally every round, I just wasn't reanimating anymore. And we saw Fairy Macabres and Grafdigger's Cages and whatever the hell in my opponent's hands in the sideboard games when my plan was just cast Dauthi Voidwalker and Barrowglyph. In those situations, when you're juking, it doesn't matter what your monsters are because they're not in your deck. In main deck situations, there were a couple spots where Archon of Cruelty would have been a lot better than Valgavoth. Like against the Painter in round 1, if I can just delete the Painter and a card in their hand and have a 6/6 rather than maybe still get comboed out even if I get Valgavoth or Grizzlebrand, that's obviously better. Versus Nadu, I would really like access to Archon because these 2 creatures don't really stack up versus Nadu that well. The Grizzlebrand was actually better than Atraxa in the Doomsday matchup. In matchups that are not about life points, Grizzlebrand is still better than Atraxa. They're not about racing. It's not about life points. It's just about surviving each other's BS. There's more matches where Atraxa would be better, but Grizzlebrand did show up and in a matchup where he's better. So even that is, I don't want to say it's a wash because it is still a downgrade, but there's spots where it's defensible. And then based on the texture of the metagame that emerges, like if Atraxa and Archon aren't what people have to worry about anymore, how does that change deck building? How does that change the top decks? Do things unlock that are bad against Archon of Cruelty? Did those decks suddenly appear in the metagame? And then how do we react? Like, is the Vaultborn Tyrant or the Stormtide Leviathan or whatever what we do instead at that point? I don't know. My final ruling on this idea is that the deck is worse, but it is not so much worse that it matters. I think if you want to take meaningful action against Reanimate without killing it, Tamiyo or Reanimate are the bans. If you want to kill it outright, everyone knows Entomb is the ban. Wizards of the Coast knows Entomb is the ban if that's what they want to do, but they clearly don't want to do that if they can avoid it. And I agree with that sentiment because I think Entomb is a very cool card. I think Tamiyo sucks ass. The play patterns of her, the way she interacts with Brainstorm is just really miserable. She was designed for a format without Brainstorm, modern Horizons. just like Psychic Frog wasn't designed to be played against alongside Force of Will, and Wrenn and 6 wasn't designed to be played against Wasteland. There are certain core pieces of the Legacy format that pop off with cards that are fine in the format the card was designed for. Ragavan, Wrenn and 6, Tamiyo, Psychic Frog, all still legal and all just fine in Modern. But 3 of those are banned with great prejudice in Legacy, and I think Tamiyo will soon join that list. Even outside the Reanimator shell, just having to do this in every blue deck and against it when you're every non-blue deck are really annoying. And it's also massively subsidizing this little 2-creature package. Yeah, I just don't think this is the problem, and banning Atraxa is not the solution. That's where I'm leaving this one. Smell you later, Reanimator. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.